Spurs are gone for Van Hecke from Brighton. The 25-year-old defender looks set to reunite with his former boss in De Zerbi, in accordance with various news outlets, and as Ornstein has reported here as well, that the Spurs have marked the Brighton defender as a possible replacement for what could be the likely outgoing of Christian Romero to leave the football club. Now, Van Hecke and Spurs, I think, is a perfect fit for all parties involved, again, if the valuation is right. We've seen that Brighton value the defender at 70 million quid, are reportedly only going to negotiate if they get close to that value. Now, with Van Hecke entering his final year in the contract, Spurs have been in this the last time we dealt with Brighton, when we got Yves Bissouma, who, like as Van Hecke, was in the last year of his contract as well, but we managed to get Bissouma for a relatively cut price deal at around, I think, I've seen some report 50 million. I think it was actually around 35 million we got Bissouma for as well. Now, how does Van Hecke compare against our other centre backs? You might be asking. This is how he compares against the likes of, I've done Romero, Danso and Dragas. Now, I'm not putting him up against with Mickey, because Van de Ven is a left-sided centre-half, and I can only see Van Hecke coming in to deputise at right centre-back, not left centre-back. So with that, these are the metrics that he has carried out from the last season. Now, obviously, it's probably unfair, really, to put him in comparison against Radu, with the lack of game time that Radu, but I want you to take heed of the one against Romero. That's the main one that would interest you. Obviously, with De Zerbi, what he likes with his defenders is playing out from the back, ball playing defenders, being able to carry the ball, maybe get it from the keeper, almost act like a sweeper in that role. Collect the ball, drive it forward. We see that seems to be a pattern in play with the defenders that we've been linked to. Obviously, we've got hopefully the Andy Robertson. Marcus Senesi is another equal example of someone who does display the ball progression to the final third very, very well. And if memory serves me right, we also had two very good Belgian centre backs who did that as well under Poch, with both Toby and Jan. Not saying that these two, that Van Hecke or Van de Ven or Senesi, will imitate those, but there seems to be a similar pattern. If I draw your attention to, you can see this is further even supported by both the progressive passes. We can see that Van Hecke is within the nearly top 99th percentile, as Romero last year was only in the 62nd percentile. Obviously, with Romero, his possession one was a lot greater, which could be down to his, I suppose, you could say that could be his erratic defending, but you could also say that maybe he just went in for more duels in that sense, which is probably more evident again in the fact that with aerial duels, Romero comes out on top than Van Hecke. But progressive carries, then again you can see then it's well over double from what Van Hecke offers compared to what Romero offers, and that's the key difference. Romero is kind of more like your old school centre half. He's a lot more physical, I would say, and a lot more kind of airly dominant than Van Hecke is. But for the style that De Zerbi plays and how he wants Spurs to play, and I think how getting other players around involved and strengthening them and using their attributes, like on your right back, potentially a Savinho as well, coming in at either the left or right wing, a Kudus as well on that whole right flank as well, maybe a ball playing 8, who knows, Morgan Gibbs-White, we could say that for a name for argument's sake. It's clear that De Zerbi wants that style of player. So with that, obviously, they've had such a big relationship between the pair. We worked with Van Hecke in Brighton. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he might have brought Van Hecke to the club. I don't know that off the top of my head, but maybe he didn't. But regardless, they seem to have a really good relationship. And what's encouraging from this is that while Spurs initially gave an offer for the defender, they've also accelerated it and kind of gone, okay, we didn't get this one, maybe we'll get it this time around, which is, I suppose, a good positive sign from us, because usually with Spurs, as we all know, if we go in for the bid, it doesn't work out, kind of like we'll either drag it all out until until it's too late, or will completely lose interest and go on to other targets. With this, it does seem a bit different, which is positive to see. But again, who knows? It's Spurs. You never really can tell with them. But and Hecke, would I take him at Spurs? Absolutely. We got him obviously final year of the contract. I'm thinking if we got him 40 million, maybe 45 at a push, we're getting a proven centre back, can play out from the back, good with his feet. If you put him up in a partnership with Van de Ven, I think you both would equally complement each other. I wouldn't put him with the likes of Van Hecke or Romero or Van Hecke. Maybe a Danso. I'd play in left centre back, but it would be interesting. Maybe even in a back three. I don't know. That's not what I get paid for at all. And I think Van Hecke, if we got him in, be a top signing, and it'd be a real statement signing as well for Spurs. They mean business, and if we could get this done before the World Cup in the next couple of weeks, or in the next few days, in a week and a half nearly at this stage, it'd be a really good sign for things to come, hopefully.